Some fresh faces have hit the pages. Here are the newest Marvel superheroes you've never seen before. So, Hydra is once again ruining lives because it's what they do best. This time, they kidnapped a bunch of regular people and experimented on them, giving them superpowers. The person is brainwashed to believe that they are linked to a superhero that shares similar powers. For example, for today's first point, we have Moon Squire. He believes that he is attached kind of to Moon Knight. His Hydra backstory is that he acquired his powers / contacted his Egyptian patron after finding some forbidden ancient texts while on an internet deep dive. It appears that Moon Squire has similar, if not the same, powers as Moon Knight, with a focus on his ability to darken any space he's in, literally absorbing the light to create his weapons. He's not the only person this situation has happened to. There were quite a few of them. Some of the other experiments have found each other and created a team together called the Assembly, now New Champions. Hydra created all these little heroes so they would cover the earth and subtly influence the world to view Hydra favorably. The New Champions have discovered their evil plan and made it their mission to find the new heroes around the world and bring them to the good side. Next up is Calico, a big win for the Horse Girls. Introduced in Uncanny X-Men in August, she is literally a girl with a magical horse. Together they are Calico and Ember. Since Calico is very new, there isn't much to go on when it comes to how much power she wields. However, she has given readers a taste, and so far she is awesome. Through a powerful mind link with her horse, she can transform them into various horse forms. All we've really seen so far is kind of like a winged flaming horse. Calico can either stay as she is and just look really cool riding on the back of a flaming Pegasus, or she can give herself a flaming suit of armor and a sword and look even cooler. To put it simply, I want to be her. Calico's backstory is tough, like many young mutants is. Born Becca Simon Panetch, she grew up with a mother that kind of made her like a Rapunzel character. She couldn't access any media other than books, only animals were her friends, and she was once locked in a cupboard for 4 days, so you kind of understand the vibe there. When her house burned down, she got out of there and has been on the run ever since, eventually finding a family in a scrappy group of teens that call themselves the Outliers. My favorite recent-ish addition to the Marvel Spider universe is Spinstress or Spinderella. She is Princess Petra of Earth 423, and I have never ever wanted to be a character so bad. She is a Disney princess version of Peter Parker. She sings, she swings, and she even has her own MJ, Mary James Watson. He's a singing bard. Like Cinderella, she is banned from going to the big ball, but her fairy godmother swooped in to save the day. She gave Petra the prettiest dress I've ever seen and spider powers and sent her on her way. Now she is a crime-fighting princess living in a fairy tale land, and isn't that just the dream? Princess Petra did debut in 2022, so she's a bit older than some of the other people on this list, but no less cool. Phantasma debuted this month in Ghost Rider Robbie Ray's special, and she is awesome. She was only there for a little bit, but that's really all she needed. Roller derby skater by trade and Ghost Rider when she is put in high-stress situations, Isabella Alvarez might not have complete control over when she uses her powers, but she does have a good handle on them in the midst of battle. In the story, Isabella was supposed to be getting ready for a roller derby match, but she had a panic attack that caused a portal to open and release a bunch of demons. To deal with the demons, she had to become her Ghost Rider form, Phantasma. She has some super hot glue chains that she uses to corral them all, and of course she has the ability to open and close portals. She's completely fearless, as exhibited by her complete willingness to just jump through the portal at the end to make sure it closes with no real plan on how to get back. Phantasma was created for the New Champions variant covers event happening this month. We have another new champion, and her name is Liberty. She is part of the team Moon Squire is on, and she looks kind of like if Captain America and the Wasp mashed together. Her brainwashed backstory is she was a tech genius and was a leading mind in the advancement of hard light technology. She realized her true origins upon hearing a very loud scream. Liberty's powers are flight, thanks to her wings, of course, but the wings can also shield her from projectiles and electrical shocks. She's also able to turn invisible, but it isn't like the invisibility is coming from her. She has this light star thing that reflects light, and that renders her invisible to the human eye, as well as cameras and infrared lasers. Liberty's character was teased last year, but 2024 has been this girl's time to shine. Thank you so much to the person that was like, you know what we need? Space Spider-Man. Because we did need Space Spider-Man. I like to have fun, so why not? Persephone Parker is Star Spider. She is also the coolest, and I love her suit. She is from Earth 1978 and debuted in the Edge of Spider-Verse 3 in April. She lives in the space station, Bronx, because that's where her family is from. She's on the station because she's working as an apprentice to Professor Osborn, and they study quantum engineering. Persephone is quite sneaky. She is secretly dating Osborn's daughter and also secretly a space superhero. She utilizes the spiders on the ship, but they're not actual spiders, they're nanobots that use Shi'ar tech. They are what form Persephone's cool outfit. Spider stands for Sanitation, Planning, Integrated Defense, and Engineering Robots. Star Spider's biggest fight so far has been against Octavius and the Kree army that were trying to invade the station.
Number 10. Emily Bright. Making her first appearance in Strange Academy issue 1 in 2020, Emily Bright was born with an innate connection to magic. Even as a young child, her abilities manifested in these subtle ways, such as healing injured animals with a simple touch. Her life changed forever when Doctor Strange personally invited her to enroll in Strange Academy, a school of course dedicated to training the next generation of sorcerers. Now at the academy, Emily learns advanced spells, elemental control, and how to summon mystical energies. However, her raw magical potential is both a gift and a curse. She often finds herself a target for dark entities eager to harness her power, including forces from dimensions that she never even knew existed. Emily's journey is all about self-discovery and responsibility as she struggles to balance her desire for a normal life with the burden of protecting the magical realms. Hashtag first world problems. Number 9. Doyle Dormammu. Making his first appearance in Strange Academy 1 in 2020, Doyle Dormammu is the teenage son of Dormammu, the infamous ruler of the Dark Dimension, and of course a long-standing enemy of Doctor Strange. Now, despite his fiery skull and lineage and all that scary stuff, Doyle seeks to forge his own path, but this time as a hero. At Strange Academy, he works tirelessly to prove that he is more than his father's legacy. Doyle's powers include fire manipulation, invulnerability to heat, and the ability to tap into the interdimensional magic. However, his journey is marked by internal conflicts. He often questions whether he can escape the darkness of his ancestry or if his father's influence is too deeply ingrained. Doyle's dynamic relationships with his classmates, especially Emily Bright, add depth to his character, showcasing that his struggle to balance friendship, heroism, and the constant threat of his father's looming control is a pretty hard one to balance. Number 8. Eve Warlock. Making her first appearance in Warlock Rebirth 1 back in 2023, in the world of the Christian Bible, if you know Adam, then you also must have heard of Eve. Well, Marvel takes this idea and introduces a new female counterpart to Adam Warlock called Eve Warlock. Genetically engineered to be the perfect woman, in quotes, Eve surpasses Adam in nearly every aspect, making her a powerful and an intriguing figure in this reimagined origin story of the iconic Marvel hero. Created by the High Evolutionary, Eve Warlock initially defies her creator's intentions and, like Adam, seeks her own path as a hero within Earth 616. However, unlike many heroes, she's not known for her compassion or her friendliness. You can't have them all, folks. Eve tends to keep to herself, avoiding interactions with others and distancing herself from the conventional ideals of heroism. Now, this aloofness and lack of sympathy make her a unique addition to the Marvel Universe, with her character developing beyond the shadow of Adam Warlock's legacy. Number 7. Samurai Venom. Pretty self-explanatory, let's dive in. Making his first appearance in Extreme Venomverse number 1 back in May 2023, in a unique twist on the symbiote saga, Samurai Venom takes the fusion of ancient warrior culture and Venom to thrilling new heights. Originating from an alternate Earth, this version of Venom combines the power of the symbiote with the discipline and ferocity of a samurai. Now, although Samurai Venom has only appeared in 2 Marvel comics in 2023 and met a untimely demise, the concept of a symbiote wielding warrior offers rich potential for future stories. It's pretty badass. Given Marvel's tradition of reinventing symbiotes, there's always a chance for this character to return. I mean, we hope. The origin of Samurai Venom is set in motion when an Oscorp employee stumbles upon this mysterious black sword. Upon drawing the blade, Takemoto, the unsuspecting wielder, is then bonded with the Venom symbiote, transforming into Samurai Venom. This dimensional character brings a fresh and visually striking take on the classic symbiote, and while he exists in an alternate universe, the idea of a Venom samurai could certainly find its way back into the core Marvel continuity, perhaps as a historical figure on Earth 616. Never say never. Number 6. Hunter's Moon. Making their first appearance in Moon Knight issue 3 2021, Hunter's Moon, aka Dr. Batter, is a devout follower of Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god, and serves as a counterpart to Mark Spector's Moon Knight. Batter views himself as the god's loyal servant, upholding Khonshu's will without question. Hunter's moon possesses enhanced strength, agility, and healing abilities, especially during a full moon, of course, as well as access to Khonshu's divine magic. His character brings an intriguing moral contrast to Moon Knight, questioning whether blind faith or moral ambiguity is a better path. As both an ally and a rival, Hunter's moon challenges Mark Spector to reconsider his relationship with Khonshu and the nature of his mission. Number 5. Wagnerine. Making their first appearance in Nightcrawler's issue 1 in 2023, Wagnerine from Earth TRN 993 is the result of Mr. Sinister's experiment, blending the powers of Nightcrawler and Wolverine into a single weaponized mutant. With both teleportation and claws, she's a force to be reckoned with. Though her time in the comics was brief, her fierce determination to protect her child, even at a great personal cost, of course makes her a memorable character. Wagnerine's fusion of iconic abilities offers a fresh twist on familiar mutants and left a lasting mark on Marvel's multiverse. That's the two powers you'd want, really. Teleportation and some claws. Game over, pal.
Kicking off our list at number 10, we've got a team that's going to redefine what it means to be a hero, or maybe just an anti-hero. I am talking about, of course, the Thunderbolts. This isn't your grandma's Avengers, folks. Forget shiny armor and goody two-shoes attitudes. The Thunderbolts are a crew of reformed villains and morally ambiguous operatives handpicked by Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine to do the dirty work that no one else will. They're the MCU's answer to a morally gray Black Ops team, and they are about to turn things upside down. We're talking about a roster that's stacked with heavy hitters like US Agent, a Captain America gone rogue, Yelena Belova, the dangerous Black Widow, the ever loyal Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, the hilarious and powerful Red Guardian, the mysterious Taskmaster, and the phasing powerhouse Ghost. These heroes don't play by the rules. They're rough around the edges, they've got baggage, and they're not afraid to get their hands dirty in the name of whatever mission they're assigned. What makes the Thunderbolts such game changers? For starters, they're ushering in a darker, grittier tone to the MCU. They're gonna push the boundaries of what is acceptable in a hero, and we cannot wait to see it. This team's dynamic is a powder keg waiting to explode, and we're here for every glorious, messy second of it. Coming in at number 9, we have the Soviet super soldier himself, the Red Guardian. Russia's answer to Captain America, Alexei is a Cold War relic with a story as fascinating as his powers. This guy's got enhanced strength, speed, and durability, making him a formidable opponent in pretty much any fight. But Red Guardian is more than just brute force. He's a father figure, albeit a flawed one, to Yelena and Natasha. He's got a surprisingly good heart underneath that gruff exterior and a fierce loyalty to his family, both blood and found. Red Guardian brings a unique international perspective to the MCU, reminding us that the world of superheroes extends beyond America's borders. His presence opens up a treasure trove of possibilities for exploring Cold War history, global conflicts, and the complex web of international espionage. And let's not forget his history with the Winter Soldier. This connection adds another layer to Bucky's already complicated past, hinting at shared traumas and unresolved conflicts that are sure to play out in exciting ways. Alright folks, get ready for some controversy, because at number 8 we have the one and only US Agent. Where do we even begin? John Walker is a decorated soldier who is given the super soldier serum and the mantle of Captain America. US Agent is a stark reminder that power without responsibility is a dangerous recipe. He's got the physical enhancements of Captain America, but his methods are brutal, his temper is short, and his moral compass is, let's just say, it needs some serious recalibration. He's a walking embodiment of patriotism gone wrong, a cautionary tale of what happens when a hero loses his way. US Agent's presence throws a wrench into the very idea of what it means to be a hero in the MCU. He forces us to question the symbols we hold dear and the individuals we choose to represent them. Prepare to be amazed by number 7, the phasing anti-heroine known as Ghost. Ava Starr's story is as tragic as it is fascinating. Exposed to quantum energy in a lab accident, she gained the ability to become intangible, walk through walls, and even deliver powerful phased punches. Ghost's powers are a double-edged sword. They make her a formidable opponent, but they also cause her immense suffering. She's constantly battling her own body, desperately seeking a cure for her condition. Her story adds another layer to the MCU's ongoing exploration of the consequences of power. She's a living example that not all superpowers are glamorous, and sometimes the greatest battles are fought within ourselves. Her motivations are complex, her methods are questionable, but her pain is undeniably real. She's a powerful addition to into the MCU, and her story is far from over. At number 6, get ready to have your minds blown wide open because we have the dimension-hopping powerhouse herself, America Chavez. This young hero is a literal game changer, possessing the incredible ability to punch star-shaped portals that allow her to travel through the multiverse. You heard that right, America Chavez can literally punch her way through different realities. Talk about a power that opens up endless possibilities. Her arrival in the MCU is kind of like opening Pandora's box, but instead of unleashing evils, it's unleashing infinite universes. The multiverse is at our fingertips and the implications are staggering. But America is more than just her powers. She represents a new generation of heroes, diverse, powerful, and ready to face any challenge that the multiverse throws their way. She's a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to the strength of youth, and a reminder that anyone can be a hero no matter where they come from. But hold on to your hats, folks, because number 5 on our list is a hero so powerful he could rewrite the entire fabric of the MCU. I am talking about the one, the only, Sentry. This guy is basically Marvel's answer to Superman, possessing strength that rivals the Hulk, the ability to fly, near invulnerability, and even the power to manipulate matter. But here's the kicker, he's got a dark side, a terrifying entity known as the Void, which is the literal embodiment of all his fears, doubts, and negative emotions. Sentry is basically carrying the power of 1,000 exploding suns, but the mind of someone who needs some serious therapy. Sentry's introduction to the MCU is a huge deal, and his appearance in Thunderbolts is highly anticipated. He's potentially the most powerful being in this universe, capable of reshaping reality itself. But it's not just his power that makes him so compelling, it's his internal struggle, his constant battle against the Void, that adds a whole new layer of depth to this character. And here's a theory that's been buzzing around the internet. Sentry's repressed memories and potential ties to Avengers Tower suggest he might have been a hero all along, a protector hidden in plain sight. Sentry is a ticking time bomb of power and psychological turmoil, and his arrival is going to send shockwaves through the entire MCU.
Or Fadi Fadlala. He's a great new addition to the Marvel Universe and a very sweet, innocent guy with a pretty good power set too, at least so far. His main power is his Nazar shield, which he can conjure up on command. But one of the things that makes this guy unique is that his powers are fueled by love and care. So for instance, when he shields Mrs. Marvel, he draws power from the concern of her friends to give her complete protection from harm. And these shields can also be manipulated to be used as flying platforms for him to fly around with. Originally from Michigan, Fadi moves to New Jersey to live with his grandmother and cousins who own a juice bar. I like this character and the others on this list because it seems like the writers are really doing their best to tell stories that people relate to in 2022. Having a superhero with an immigrant backstory starting in ancient Baghdad and taking us to a multicultural western city is just a really cool way of acknowledging modern reality for a lot of people. It's gonna be really cool to see where Fadi's story goes in the future, but for now, in his youth, he's already got some good accolades and a pretty nifty power set. At number 9, we have the Spirit of Corruption. Now, this isn't a brand new hero, but it's a new identity that Daniel Ketch has taken on in 2021. In Ghost Rider Volume 9, Issue 4, Daniel and his brother Johnny Blaze have a fight as Daniel is trying to convince his brother that his new position as King of Hell is corrupting his soul. But Blaze tries to kill him in retaliation, and Ketch is sent to Hell, where he's transformed into the Spirit of Corruption. This is where this entry on the list gets a bit dicey, because this newfound power is pretty dark and doesn't scream heroism. But considering Daniel Ketch is a good guy at heart, I think he belongs here. And he holds on to some of his humanity even while transformed into the Spirit of Corruption, which suggests that he could still make sound decisions based on his good nature. Regardless, the powers he's given are extremely powerful, with superhuman strength, durability, and the use of the Blight Blade. This weapon is really cool because whoever gets stabbed with it will turn to sludge by the corruption of their past evil deeds. But if someone hasn't done anything corrupt, they recover from the blow. So he's good, right? Right? Okay, at number 8, we have Prince of Power, or Other One. At first glance, he may seem like a total conceited a-hole, but his backstory is actually really interesting in how he gets to this point. Basically, he is one of 2 sons of Regalia, Queen of Noblor, but when Other One is born, his unattractive appearance and low intelligence, not my words, that's actually how the wiki describes him, leaves him in the shadows of his extremely powerful and successful brother, Magistar. And this leaves him with his name, Other One. So one day as he's sorting paper clips, which he becomes a master at, he manifests the power and attractive appearance of his brother, and the Power Stone appears in his jelly bean bowl. He eats it by accident and basically turns into Prince of Power, with a power set that gives him superhuman strength, durability, and speed. But as a cruel trade-off, his intelligence is lowered even further. His powers are kind of bizarre too, because whoever he attacks is infused with the power of the Power Stone he's ingested, so basically he just makes his enemies more powerful. Hey, this isn't a list about the most powerful new superheroes, just the newest ones. Alright, at number 7 we've got Shaylee Moonpetal. Like a few others coming up on this list, Shaylee gets her start in Strange Academy, a community of young sorcerers and mages started by the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. This is a great thing to see starting in March 2020 because it seems to be introducing a whole new generation of superheroes like Shaylee. Once again, she's still very young and her powers are yet to really flourish, but she is basically a hybrid between a human and a fairy. She can fly using her fairy wings and has the capacity to cast spells. She's also already able to teleport herself and 9 other people at one point, although this power still doesn't come easily to her without some support from her friend Desi. Like some of the other students at the academy, Shaylee's upbringing wasn't so easy, having been barred from visiting her human father and having to grow up without his influence. But only time will tell whether this experience will hinder or further motivate Shaylee to become a powerful hero in the future. At number 6, we've got Emily Bright. Another member of the Strange Academy, Emily might have the best grasp of her powers out of anyone at the school. Since she was a young girl, she's been able to manipulate magic on command. And when she's invited by Doctor Strange to the Academy, she only gets more confident with her powers. She's capable of healing, energy blasts, she's beginning to master the use of the Eye of Agamotto, which allows her to perceive the ties of multiple worlds all at once, and she can multiply living creatures, which could be a good start to a pretty powerful and unique power set. It'll be interesting to see where Emily's abilities go from here, as well as the relationships she'll make at Strange Academy.
We are starting off so strong with a worm-like metahuman called Velvet and Worm. What's going on? It's Doom Patrol, which is the right place for a villain turned hero like this. So Velvet is a worm form that works with a kid called Worm. Velvet likely created the human kid because he is capable of creating humanoid constructs capable of independent thoughts and actions. Likely he did this because he was supposed to be a spy for Peacemaker. The kid body could stay in one place while the worm roams around collecting information. The worm also lives in the body's stomach. It looks really weird and I don't like it. The boy and worm, they are separate things. The boy doesn't survive the end of the comic, but Velvet the Worm does and joins Doom Patrol, accompanying them on later missions. We have yet another alien out to destroy the universe. Everyone say hello to Necrostar. It looks like a big, scary, slippery starfish. The Necrostar is a star conqueror alien. On its to-do list is conquer the universe. We've seen ambition like this before, so how will the Necrostar do it this time? Well, it has necrospores on it and in it that it can release. When released, these spores attach onto hosts and control their minds. The Necrostar is capable of flight, regeneration, which makes sense if it's a big starfish. It's also capable of telepathy adjacent actions. It debuted in Titan's Beast World in November of last year. We've unlocked a new character, one of Dick Grayson's ancestors. He is known as Son of Grey. He lived in 14th century Normandy and he is the Nightwing of his time. Son of Grey was a merchant's son, but his father was killed by, I'm assuming, the Joker of that time. Son of Grey is naturally very, very upset by his father's death and goes on a revenge spree, in which we see him do all the acrobatic feats that we are used to seeing from Dick Grayson. He is described to have a fire in his heart and be the spawn of Satan or sin. He is one resilient fighter. He was speared by the 14th century Joker and walked it off. He also almost said his own version of the Princess Bride line, "I am the son of Grey, you killed my father," but he never got to finish the line because the Joker gave him the name we know today, Grayson. The story is really short, it's only 2 parts, but it is always fun to see old-timey versions of your favorite characters. There is an evil version of Jesus that was just born. Speaking of, his name is The End. His mom is Natalia Knight, also known as Nocturna. She is a vampire, and vampires aren't supposed to be able to naturally reproduce, so The End is kind of a big red flag, a big question mark, and it's a bit scary that he's here. His mom thinks he is is the Dark Messiah and his destiny is to usher an era of horror and truth. I would love it if he didn't do that. Also, that seems like a lot to ask of this little kid. At least wait until his terrible twos. The End made his debut in May's Outsiders 5. So now we have Evil Jesus, and sticking with the Christmas theme, Evil Santa also made his debut recently. DC's Krampus truly would scare anybody. He looks like absolutely terrifying. He made his debut when Batman Santa Claus Silent Night came out on December 5th of last year. The comic is basically Santa and Krampus, they were once friends, and then Krampus was locked away. Now he's back and terrorizing the city, out to ruin Christmas to get revenge on Santa. Him and Krampus were like a good cop, bad cop duo. Krampus is clearly an extremely high-level threat now because everybody comes out to lend a hand to trap him. It is like the Christmas party of the decade, and I do hope they did a Secret Santa considering they were all together for the holidays. Krampus considers himself a god beast, which does make sense as he's shown to have supernatural powers, likely developed from his time in the Nightmare Realms. I tried looking for other Krampuses that could exist in DC history and found nothing, which I really can't believe they never capitalized on the character before. Glad they did now. Batman once visited a child psychiatrist. He went to therapy. I know, I can't believe it either. His name is Dr. Charles Quinton. He worked at Arkham Asylum. Dr. Quinton founded the children's wing of Arkham Asylum, and it was the pride of the city. But then he ran away without a trace, and with all the files for his patients. That was the thing that ruined Arkham and made it what it is today. While working with Bruce, the doctor did help, but he made Bruce forget part of the incident with his parents and also all the memories of their time working together. Dr. Quinton is very mysterious, and it's suggested that maybe he manipulated Bruce into eventually becoming Batman. Unfortunately, Dr. Quinton exists on Earth 46, so that is the Batman Gargoyle of Gotham world, so it's like not canon, but it is fun. The story is interesting, and basically it's kind of hinting that Bruce would have been Batman in every universe, even if he got therapy. Apex Ava is a decently new character, and her story is something else. Ava was a hunter specializing in rare or dangerous animals. Every time she completed a job, she would get that animal tattooed on her skin. She discovered she had a disease and was dying. For some reason, she decided that since she is dying, other people should go down with her. She switched to hunting people. Thankfully, she got caught and put in Arkham Tower. First day of Beast World rolls around and a spore comes into her cell. She has nothing to lose. She has a few days left to live, so why not eat the weird thing? The spore ends up curing her disease and turning her green and giving her animal-based powers. She decides to become the Wicked Witch of the West and gather up all the other beast people and create an underground fighting ring. Nightwing and Superman end up capturing Ava and stopping her messed up fighting ring, but before she can be held accountable, she escapes by turning into a bird, so she is still out there and likely still causing trouble.
Why do you need to know about American Kaiju? Does the name alone not answer that question? First appearing in Avengers Volume 6, Number 0 in October of 2015, US Army Corporal Todd Ziller was the test subject of a procedure by Project Troubleshooter, America's latest attempt to recreate the Super Soldier Serum. As you may be aware, this rarely goes well for anyone. In this case, the gaps of knowledge in Abraham Erskine's serum were replaced by gamma enhancements, mutant growth hormone, PIM particles, and Dr. Kurt Connor's lizard formula, because those have all been absolute winners in the past. Now this cobbled together serum coursing through Ziller's body turned him into a giant reptile very similar to Godzilla, for which he was given the alias of American Kaiju. He's basically Godzilla with an American flag painted on the top of his head. Now he was unleashed and attacked Avengers Island after Avengers Idea Mechanics tried to rescue Rick Jones from S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. This led American Kaiju to do battle with Avenger 5, basically a giant robot. Yes, it was pretty awesome, not gonna lie. But next up, first introduced in the Sins of Sinister timeline, John Ironfire became so damn popular that he made it into the Earth 616 timeline. Ironfire is a mutant from Morocco with the power to turn his blood into metal that he can then control. In one of his first appearances, Ironfire uses his powers to create metal claws, kind of like Wolverine, but his abilities are so much more than just making claws. Ironfire can use his power to create horns, armor, and he's even created molten bullets that that he shoots at enemies. During Sins of Sinister, he serves as a right-hand man to Storm in her Brotherhood and lives hundreds of years into the future, eventually looking a lot like Odin if I'm honest. After the conclusion of Sins of Sinister, he arrives in the main 616 continuity, where it's revealed that he is a member of the White Sword's 100 Champions, an army that basically wages an eternal battle in the lands of Amenth. Ironfire is the last of these warriors, arriving on Araco with the White Sword's blade, Purity. He warns the Iraqi mutants that Genesis, the wife of Apocalypse, is coming to conquer the planet, and he stands with them in battle. He's pretty cool. Mark Spector became the Fist of Khonshu when he was chosen by Khonshu himself and was given the moniker of Moon Knight. Now years and years later, however, in Moon Knight Volume 9, Number 1 from July 2021, Mark learned that Khonshu actually has 2 hands, and therefore 2 fists. And the second one was Dr. Yahya Badir. Originally someone who didn't believe in higher deities, Yahya was attacked by vampires and left for dead when he met the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. He was then saved and became a worshipper of Khonshu known as Hunter's Moon, the god's second high priest and opposite of Moon Knight. After Moon Knight refused to worship Khonshu but appropriated his mission, establishing the Midnight Mission, Hunter's Moon moved to his territory and took over a free clinic in the neighborhood in order to keep watch over Moon Knight, intending to correct the vigilante whom he believed had strayed away from Khonshu's purpose. Hunter's Moon has all the memories of the previous characters who became Khonshu's Moon Knight, making him one of Marvel's best hand-to-hand fighters. He eventually began working as Spectre's ally at the Midnight Mission, and I highly suggest you read that volume of Moon Knight to learn more. Debuting in Powers of X Number 1, which released in early 2019, Rasputin 4 is one of the more interesting recent additions to the X-Men, but she's also one of the most overpowered. Created as possibly the most powerful of Mr. Sinister's chimeras, which were basically spliced together mutants who possessed more than one hero's power, Rasputin 4 possesses 5 powers. She has the osmium metal skin of Colossus, the telekinesis and telepathy of Quentin Quire, the force fields of Gunther Bane aka Eunice the Untouchable, the intangibility of Kitty Pryde, and just to top it all off, she has the healing factor of X-23 Laura Kinney, or basically Wolverine. So as you can imagine, she is a force to be reckoned with, and on top of that she wields the Soul Sword. Currently, as far as I've read, Rasputin 4 is working pretty closely with Charles Xavier to fight back against Orcus and others during the fall of X. While she was initially controlled by Sinister, he himself undid that, and together the two actually saved the universe, with Rasputin doing most of the heavy lifting if we're being honest. More recently in the Fall of X event, she was called away by Professor X to join the crew of No Place X, venturing into the alternate timelines created by the Moira engine, hoping to wipe out Mr. Sinister clones in each one before they could become Dominions and to prevent the Enigma from ever existing. Next up, the character of Scarlett Scarab has been around for a long time in Marvel Comics, like since the 1970s, but the latest hero to carry the mantle is pretty unique in that she first debuted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Layla El Fayouly first appeared in the Moon Knight Disney Plus series with Oscar Isaac as an adventurer and the wife of Mark Spector. In the series' final episode, she becomes an avatar of the Egyptian goddess of women and children known as Taweret. Layla gained the ability to fly using those sweet golden wings, as well as superhuman strength and agility. Now, because of how popular her character in the show became, Layla's Scarlett Scarab made her debut in the actual comics in Moon Knight number 25 in July 2023. Similar to her origins in the show, she becomes an avatar of Taweret and reveals herself as the new Scarlett Scarab to Mark when he travels to the underworld, as Layla lost her life on a mission after becoming romantically involved with Mark Spector. Losing Layla was actually a factor that led Mark down a path that would eventually make him assume the mantle of Moon Knight, making her now, retroactively, tied to his comic book origin story. Now, maybe this next point is kind of cheating, but I'm making the entire new Ultimate Universe my next point. The Ultimate Universe used to be one of the most popular parts of Marvel Comics' publishing line. The Ultimate Universe was ended in the aftermath of Secret Wars, but alas, Jonathan Hickman has returned to bring the universe back to life with the miniseries Ultimate Invasion. Considering the current popularity of the multiverse concept, reviving Marvel's Ultimate Universe is a move long overdue, and Jonathan Hickman is definitely the perfect choice to script it. There's plenty of payoffs for those up to date with current Marvel continuity, as the evil alternate universe Reed Richards, also known as the Maker, who originated in the Ultimate Universe, escapes into a parallel dimension where he influences events through time to remake this universe into what he wants it to be. There are fresh takes on characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Thor, and many more. But this new universe also has completely original characters, like a lot of the ones currently making up the Ultimate X-Men created by Peach Momoko. Moving on, 1500 years ago in Baghdad, a group of rampaging monsters known as the Army of the Devil was banished and bound to ordinary objects by the sorcerer known as Red Owl. At the moment of his passing, Red Owl then sent the monster's cursed artifacts across the globe. On that day, Fadi Fadlalah's ancestors pledged to find the 1,000 cursed items and seal them away, and this duty was passed down through the generations, falling on Fadi's shoulders when he was a teenager, turning him into the superhero Amulet. Amulet first debuted in Magnificent Miss Marvel number 13 from March of 2020 in Jersey City when one of the demons of the Army of the Devil surfaced at a fair in Sussex County. Now, as you might have guessed, Amulet teamed up with Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, destroying the artifact and banishing the monster. Now, he has teamed up with Kamala a few other times, but also with Miles Morales' Spider-Man, all while fighting and banishing more of these demons. Amulet essentially has the power to conjure Nazar shields, which can vary in size, are powered and enhanced by love, can be used offensively, and even be used as platforms for Fadi to walk on air, similar to what Kamala did in the MCU TV show. Coming to us from Marvel's Voices Infinity Comic number 100 from May of this year, 2024, Jun Sung Justin Jin is Kid Juggernaut. And if that is causing you to go, wait, what? Yeah, exactly. Justin here is the son of Jin Jung-woo, who in turn is the son of Jin Moon-ho, who we learn was the Juggernaut before even Kane Marco had the job. After Moon-ho gained the powers of Sidorak, he was forced to join the Japanese Imperial forces who were occupying Korea at that time, and when Sidorak ordered Moon-ho to attack his own village, Moon-ho refused and the power went to Kane Marco, who then took the life of Moon-ho. Now, when Justin was 17 years old, his father mysteriously passed away and Justin received his belongings, which included a fragment of the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. After making contact with the artifact, Justin was given the powers of the Juggernaut. Justin learned his family history with the gem from his mother, who witnessed the transformation into Juggernaut, and how his father refused to take the powers out of shame. Justin and his mother were then confronted by Malfagor, a follower of Sidorak who wished to acquire the power of the Juggernaut for himself and had taken the life of Justin's father looking for the gem. Justin and Malfagor battled in the streets of Vancouver until Dr. Stephen Strange intervened to help rescue Justin, and he eventually joined Avengers Academy. In our runner-up spot, those heroes who have taken up the name Jackpot have not had the greatest of luck, which is kind of funny. It goes without saying that the Jackpot name is not new, with the first being Alana Jobson, who appeared back in 2008. The first Jackpot is now nowhere to be found, and the second met her demise under its moniker, but the third time's the charm, and the third time, the moniker of Jackpot fell to none other than Mary Jane Watson. Mary Jane debuted as Jackpot in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, number 31 from August of 2023. Mary Jane basically became trapped in an alternate dimension with a man named Paul Rabin, and while only a few days passed in the real world, for them it was actually several years, leading them to grow close, adopt 2 children, and develop a slot machine device that generates random superpowers for MJ. After returning from the dimension, eventually Black Cat encourages MJ to lean into her new powers and become a superhero. Mary Jane then adopts the name Jackpot, which is actually also a callback to the very first words she ever said to Peter Parker. "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." Pretty cool. And lastly, Marvel's new Gods series has been teased for months with backup stories in the pages of various Marvel Comics titles, giving us glimpses into what's happening and the premise of the story. Now, it's done. Each of the story's key players has shown up in these back pages, including what seems to be the main player, a guy called Wynn, also known as Sir Redwyn. Wynn is the avatar of the powers that be, an ancient entity or group that ultimately oversees all things strange and magical in Marvel Comics. Wynn received the role of Avatar over a millennium ago and has served faithfully in safeguarding the universe, without any of us knowing somehow. Thanks to his long life and his knack for always landing in hot water, he knows how to get himself out of a tight spot, even as he begrudgingly performs his obligatory duties. Now, I've seen him often compared to DC's Constantine, and I think that's actually somewhat accurate, especially in his personality. Wynn's position as the avatar of the powers that be is only one half of the overarching mythology introduced in the Gods comics, and he's the direct opposite of the powers that be are the natural order of things, and they oversee all things pure and scientific. Rather than having a single representative in the form of an avatar like Wynn, the natural order of things is represented by 100 immortal individuals who comprise the Centum, and one of them is Wynn's wife, Eiko Maki.
I personally am obsessed with Elizabeth Marston Prince. If you haven't heard of her, she is from the Wonder Woman Trinity universe, and she is Wonder Woman's daughter. Elizabeth grew up alongside fellow super kids Damian Wayne and John Kent. She was a bit younger, so they would often babysit her. There were a few times the trio went on missions together as kids, one time defeating Killer Croc, the other time they just visited the moon because Elizabeth wouldn't fall asleep. Trinity is still quite young and still loves to mess with her friends, challenging them to races, or making them all go on a mission to a Greek cave where their tolerance for pain, honor, and skill are tested. Elizabeth is her mother's daughter, she trained like her mom, she leads like her mom, and she is immortal and strong like her mom. What is quite cool about Elizabeth is she is the first holder of the 3 lassos of fate. I am urgently calling all fans of the Warrior Cats book series because you are going to love Kyle the Catboy. I can't believe this character exists for many reasons. Catboy is already a term used in pop culture with a very specific brand of person in mind. What was DC thinking? Kyle is your typically troubled kid. He was a petty criminal, went to juvie a few times, and didn't have a strong family unit. He had a mentor, but that mentor ended up betraying him. Eventually, he made the decision to splice his DNA with feline DNA, wild choice, and he became Catboy. There is lore surrounding Catboys, which means there are many Catboys in this universe. They typically travel in groups called prides. Kyle is pretty special. He knows magic, which he learned from the evil mentor guy. Some things Kyle has used the magic for include electroblasts, creating a bird to locate a specific target, controlling fire, he can make someone take an impromptu catnap, and creates force fields. Batman enlists his help for dealing with a problem, and like most times Batman is around an orphan troubled kid, he becomes a positive, almost father figure in his life and transforms the little outlaw into a little hero. Kyle ends up becoming a vigilante just like Batman. Truly, I can't believe what I'm about to share with y'all. The Childminder's story is out of this world. The Childminder is the name of the character. She is a bit older than some of the other characters, at almost 1.5 years old, but her story makes up for it. Important to note about the character, she is a time scavenger and she's kinda like me, cares a whole lot about the kid heroes who disappeared without a trace. Flashpoint caused a lot of problems, a lot of timeline changes, and caused 13 Golden Age sidekicks to disappear. They were taken out of history and placed in stasis pods. Unfortunately, their place of freeze was attacked and they were released back into the timeline before it was ready for them. These sidekicks were just kind of floating through history, so Childminder tracked them all down and took them to, you ready for this? Orphan Island, if the boot fits. Time is not a thing there, so the sidekicks would be safe there until further notice. Childminder is a bad person, but everything she is doing sounds good, right? Well, this half chicken, half old woman clown also kidnapped sidekicks that weren't erased from history, like for example, Wing. Childminder says she cares about the kids, but then this guy named Hourman shows up and he says he will return her to her youth in exchange for the kids, and she says yes, so how much does she really care about them? But then a fight breaks out, and then a time storm breaks out. Childminder is hit with energy and de-ages to the point where she is an egg again. At some point, she claims to be the inspiration for the children's storybook character Mother Goose, as if her lore wasn't wild enough.
At number 5 is Zoe Laveau. first appearing in issue 1 of Strange Academy. So far, Zoe has shown abilities of necromancy and hypnosis, but still seems to have lots to learn. Her backstory is particularly tough, and another brilliant bit of writing by the creators of this storyline. With a long bloodline of magicians, Zoe falls victim to depression when she struggles with her own abilities with magic. So to make up for her perceived inadequacies as a sorcerer, she turns to Gaslamp, who sells wishes like drugs. And her powers are increased for a time, but they don't last long and wear off, leading her back to Gaslamp over and over and over again. I'm sure you can see the metaphor here. Basically, she becomes addicted and eventually loses her life to this habit, but is luckily resurrected when her ancestor Marie Laveau is called upon. Now she wears a necklace that keeps her appearing healthy and alive, but when it's removed, a decaying version of herself is revealed as a painful reminder of her past traumas. I think we can all see how these details can be translated to the real issues of modern young people, right? This character's story is just so full of metaphors that it's just brilliant and deserves a spot on this list. At number 4 is Sora, aka the Wolf. Daughter to Psylocke and Forge, Sora first appears in Captain Marvel Volume 10, Issue 22, when the world has become inhabitable, at least on the surface level, due to lethal levels of radiation. Sora lives with a group of other survivors of this nuclear event in an underground facility underneath New York City, and only when Captain Marvel restarts the sun are they able to start re-emerging to the surface of the Earth. Some of Sora's powers include the summoning of psionic weapons and telepathy. She's also known to be a genius, which comes in handy especially when needing to be resourceful in the position she finds herself in. It's really cool to see new characters like this being introduced in 2022. And not only are we seeing new characters, but new events and storylines that seem to be birthing whole droves of heroes at once. We're really excited to see where Sora's storyline goes, and we hope that this new son works properly. Okay, at number 3 is Bridget, Thor's daughter. Daughter of Thor. Okay, in the same event mentioned in the previous section, Bridget finds refuge underground alongside Sora and a few others. Bridget is unable to lift her father's hammer, so instead she works as a blacksmith for the other survivors. But when Ove, or Ovi, not sure how to pronounce it, the dark son of Namor, calls Captain Marvel to have talks in New Atlantis, Bridget accompanies her. And thank God for that, because when things naturally go wrong, because it's Namor's son, Bridget is forced to call upon Mjolnir, and succeeds this time, gaining the powers of her father Thor. Seeing as this is a newer character and storyline, there's not much more that has taken place for this character, but this is a pretty damn cool start. And after this major event that basically destroys the surface of the Earth, most of the old heroes and villains alike die. So in the early 2050s, it appears that there's a new wave of heroes ready to get their own issues in the future. Pretty exciting. At number 2, we have Werewolf by Night, or Jake Gomez, an indigenous hero with the ability to transform into a werewolf on command, without the need for moonlight. What makes this character cool and adds some modernity to his abilities is that he can only control his powers when he's listening to a playlist made by his cousin Molly. I think it's a really cool angle to have a young character's powers governed by their emotions and even their favorite music, because it speaks to the reality of a young person's experience in the modern day. I think it also speaks to today's culture in that many young people can sometimes fall victim to their emotions, giving the werewolf power a bit of a metaphorical quality to it. On top of this, the first real victim that Jake faces is the Life Pharmaceutical Organization, who have captured some of the tribal people from Hopi Reservation in the Painted Desert. So it's a pretty good commentary on modern issues if you ask me. First appearing in 2022's Werewolf by Night Volume 3, Issue number 1, Jake is just starting his journey as a new Marvel hero, and we're very excited to see where this character goes next. At number 1, we have Dr. Multiverse, or Maya Chimera, from Earth 8, who made her debut as recently as January 2022, so only 3 months ago as of posting this video. She first appears in Justice League Incarnate number 1, and I'm putting her at number 1 because I feel like this hero has the biggest potential out of all of them on the list. Her powers and backstory are really cool, and her direct association to everything multiverse just screams mainstream hit to me. I mean, her powers are crazy. She can basically track down and transport herself to the immediate position of anyone she's ever interacted with, wherever they are in the multiverse. She can also withstand explosions at point blank range without being hurt, and can see variants and alternate versions of people from different realities, and recognize any person's identity and home universe just by glancing at them. She's basically a god with powers like that, and it's cool to be here for her big debut in 2022.
Coming in at number 4, it's not just one hero, but a whole team that's about to redefine the meaning of family in the MCU, the Fantastic Four. They're not just any team, they are time-displaced heroes from the 1960s, stranded in a strange new world after a mission gone wrong. We are getting a whole team of heroes ripped straight out of another era. This family of adventurers, bound together by a cosmic ray mishap that granted them extraordinary powers, are bringing their unique brand of heroism to a world that desperately needs them. The Fantastic Four are Marvel's first family, and their arrival is a landmark moment for the MCU. They were the pioneers of a new kind of superhero story, one that embraced its characters' flaws and focused on the importance of human connection. Beyond their family dynamic, the Fantastic Four are connected to some of the biggest villains and cosmic entities in the Marvel Universe. Dr. Doom, Galactus, and the Silver Surfer, these are just a few of the iconic characters tied to the Fantastic Four's lore. Their arrival opens up a whole new world of storytelling possibilities, expanding the MCU's cosmic scope and introducing a new level of threat that will require all hands on deck. So leading the charge at number 3 is the brilliant and elastic leader of the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards is more than just a stretchy guy. He's one of the smartest minds in the Marvel Universe. This scientific genius can stretch, contort, and reshape his body into virtually any form imaginable, making him a surprisingly versatile fighter and an invaluable problem solver. Mr. Fantastic's intellect is his greatest weapon. He's a master of science and technology, capable of inventing incredible gadgets, devising complex strategies, and understanding the very fabric of reality. His arrival in the MCU isn't just about adding another powerful hero to the roster. It's about introducing a scientific mind that could revolutionize technology and push the boundaries of what's possible. He's the kind of hero who can outsmart his opponents as easily as he can outfight them. Mr. Fantastic is about to stretch the limits of the MCU, both literally and figuratively. But coming in at a very close second is the heart and soul of the Fantastic Four, the powerful and compassionate Invisible Woman. Susan Storm is a formidable hero possessing the ability to turn invisible, create powerful force fields, and even generate invisible energy blasts. Invisible Woman is the glue that holds the Fantastic Four together. She's the voice of reason, the moral compass, and the unwavering protector of her family. Her powers are a reflection of her inner strength and resilience. She can be as subtle as a whisper or as powerful as a hurricane, depending on what the situation demands. Invisible Woman's presence in the MCU is a major step forward for female representation in superhero films. She's not a damsel in distress or a sidekick. She's a strong, independent hero who can hold her own in any fight and protect those she loves with unwavering determination. Her powers and strategic thinking make her a vital asset to the team, and her compassion and empathy make her a true leader. And finally, folks, our number 1 newest hero changing the MCU is the ever-loving, blue-eyed Thing. Ben Grimm, the rock-skinned powerhouse of the Fantastic Four, is a testament to the power of inner strength and unwavering loyalty. This guy is the muscle of the team, possessing super strength, incredible durability, and a heart of gold. The Thing's transformation may have made him a monster on the outside, but it also revealed his true heroism within. He's a loyal friend, a fierce protector, and a constant source of strength for the Fantastic Four. The Thing's arrival in the MCU is a powerful statement about overcoming adversity and embracing your inner strength. He's a reminder that even when life throws you the hardest punches, you can still find the strength to keep fighting. Thing is about to show the MCU that it's not about what you look like, it's about who you are on the inside, and that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who have to overcome the most. It's clobberin' time! Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's about superheroes who actually quit the X-Men for good. Click the video now to find out more. See you guys in the next video. Bye!
Number 4. Scarlett Scarab. Making their first appearance in Moon Knight 25, 2023. Originally, they were introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Layla Al-Fawli made her comic debut as the Scarlett Scarab in 2023. Her story adds depth to Mark Spector's journey, pushing him towards becoming Moon Knight. After his passing, Layla was resurrected by the goddess Tawarit and returned as a powerful protector of the Egyptian god's City of the Dead. With her new abilities, she teams up with Moon Knight, forming a compelling duo that brings fresh excitement to Marvel Comics. Her powers and evolving relationship with Moon Knight promise more thrilling adventures in the Marvel Universe. We didn't get a lot of her in the Moon Knight show. I wonder if we'll get more in Season 2. I wonder if we'll get a Season 2 at this point. I mean, who knows? Number 3. Iron Fire. Making their first appearance in Sins of Sinister 2023, Iron Fire was introduced in the dystopian future of Sins of Sinister. It's a mutant with the unique ability to transmute his blood into weapons and armor. Now, in a world where Sinister has taken fully control, Iron Fire becomes a leader in the Resistance, using his powers to fight for mutant freedom. His character embodies resilience and defiance, representing an unyielding spirit of those who resist oppression. So when brought into the main timeline, Iron Fire's knowledge of future events of course makes him a valuable, albeit haunted, ally in preventing Sinister's schemes from coming to fruition. Number 2. Sora the Cyclone. Making her first appearance in Avengers Assemble Omega 1 back in 2023, Sora the Cyclone is a Wakandan meteorologist turned superhero, and she's chosen to represent her nation on a multiversal Avengers team. Her powers, derived from Wakandan experiments with vibranium and atmospheric technology, this allows her to control wind currents, summon tornadoes, and manipulate the weather on a localized scale. Sora's intelligence and tactical mind make her a critical asset in battle, while her Wakandan heritage ties her to her people's deep cultural and technological roots. And finally, number 1, Spider-Boy Bailey Briggs. Making his first appearance in Spider-Man April 2023, Bailey Briggs became Spider-Boy after being taken and having his DNA spliced by Madame Monstrosity. His tragic origin mirrors that of many masked heroes, but his powers allowed him to stand proudly alongside Spider-Man as his sidekick. Now, despite a complex relationship with Peter Parker, including Otto Octavius' time as Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Boy brings this optimistic energy to the team, which is always fun. Though he's not as popular as Miles Morales yet, or Peter Parker, nothing of that sort, Spider-Boy's charm and growing fan base earned him his own series in the same year that he was introduced, so he's off to a good start, so we'll probably see more of him to come. Maybe in Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe we'll see a little Bailey Briggs, who knows. I've been your host Taylor McWaters, see you next time on Top 10 Nerd. Peace.
They don't hide in the shadows. They don't conceal their true nature. They are the heroes from beyond the stars, and they're here to protect us. Starting off this video with the most iconic superhero of all time, who is definitely not human. He may be known as the ultimate symbol of American heroism, but the truth is far more extraterrestrial. Superman, the Man of Steel, is actually...
Deathlock is a newer Avenger, and I think he's pretty cool. Deathlock is Miles Morales from Earth 807128. Originally part of the Champions, he ended up facing Annihilus. In that fight, Miles ended up passing on, but then he didn't. He ended up turning into Deathlock instead. From what I can gather from the comic, it's because Miles stole the cosmic control rod from Annihilus and broke it. It caused him to become more cyborg than man. Miles in this universe is very similar to his 616 counterpart. He's fearless and funny and fights like his life depends on it, because it always does. Deathlock is part of the Savage Avengers. Even though they are from separate Earths, there's a lot of timeline messes happening, and that's how they came together. Deathlock debuted in May of 2022, so again, a bit older than some of the other heroes on this list, but no less cool. Ransom, another member of the Outliers, is next. Again, super new, not much is known about his powers, but we do know for sure that he has no heart. And that is me being completely literal. Ransom doesn't have a heart in his chest. Instead, he has a black hole, or something like that. Now, this is not fully confirmed yet, but it looks like Ransom is one of those mutants that absorbs energy, and that makes him stronger. I got this vibe because when Wolverine was getting in his face, he said, "Don't touch me," seriously, kind of like a warning. Then when he was sharing his heartbreaking backstory about the time he was kidnapped and his rich parents refused to pay the ransom, the criminals threw him out a window and used their weapons 14 times, which in Ransom's words only made him strong. So it seems like any force used against this guy will only make him a tougher opponent. Moving into vampire territory, we have Pia. Pia is a vampire, as you might have guessed, but she is special and different than other vampires because she isn't hurt by sunlight. This is because she merged with a rabbit familiar named Tito. Pia has been a hero long before she gained her vampire abilities. She actually met her rabbit because she was being chased by a vampire. She saved Tito, but then another vampire ended up biting her. The two found each other again, and presumably as a thank you, Tito merged with Pia, giving her the chance to still exist as she did before. Pia is completely fearless. I mean, as a regular human girl, she took on a vampire with no second thoughts, and then did it again multiple times. But she's also really emotionally mature for her age after everything she has gone through. Her Strange Academy story centered around the vampire pandemic and capturing the Darkhold boy. The Darkhold was being really cruel out of a place of fear, and when given the chance to attack him, Pia instead heard him out and even saved him from Egg of the Harkness by giving him some added protection by giving up Tito. And then she kicked Agatha in the face, so Pia slays. And finally, Death Dream. He is another member of the Outliers, and he is really creepy. He exists between life and death. He can choose which of those states he wants to be in at will. His mutant abilities manifested at birth. He was born still, was revived, and that situation happened 4 times the day of his birth, and by the 4th time his body just started doing it himself. Death Dream, when he chooses to be deceased, has necromancy powers and can summon souls. The souls can possess him, giving him powers like flight or becoming a black hole. Literally, one of his combat strategies, it's so creepy, he just turns into this black void with a head in the middle and beady red eyes. No thank you. It's clear that Death Dream is incredibly powerful. He's just really young. He doesn't really have a handle on his power yet, so when he gets possessed, he pretty much loses all control of his body, which nearly ended Nightcrawler in what was supposed to be a training exercise. Overall, he just seems like a really sad kid with way more power than he might know what to do with, which means his arc has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see how his story continues. But what do you think? Let us know. Bye!